Okay, so Michael, you might just give me a thumbs up or something like that if you can see, or someone might give me a thumbs up if you can see the slide deck. Excellent stuff. Brilliant, brilliant. So first and foremost, thanks so much for having me. I'm really delighted to be here. As Michael said, I am one of the founders of a company called Legit Fit. And essentially what we do is help businesses to manage less and earn more. So I suppose for kind of today's talk, and I've kind of brought it up here as well, so hopefully you can kind of see that. I wanted to kind of run through like what it's been like for us running a fitness business and what we've learned from like all of our customers and the industry in general. I'll be kind of touching on a couple of areas like the lockdowns, the software, the industry, that kind of stuff. And as he said, please do throw some more things into the chat because it gets the conversation going. So the agenda for today, we're going to start out with talking about how Legit Fit started. I love talking about the history of it, and I think the history is important so that people, I suppose, know where we come from and our backgrounds and why I suppose, what our motivation and passion is for this product. We'll be talking about like the problem that we see in the industry. And again, if you see problems in the industry, definitely interested in hearing that and our solution to it. And then we'll be talking about like from that point, how we got to product launch, what was going on pre-lockdown, and then obviously the COVID conundrum and the learnings from that. The last couple of slides I want to focus on, like, you know, we sent out an email to our customers this week to kind of find out what they think what's going to happen next for the industry. And we have our kind of ideas from talking to different business owners and independent fitness professionals in Ireland, in the UK, over in the US. And kind of, yeah, just kind of to see what's coming down the road, because I always feel that, you know, looking to other countries and what they're doing is a really kind of powerful way for you to kind of optimize what you're doing going forward. Then I'm going to talk about what's next for us at Legit Fit. So I'm trying to wrap the story around the slides if possible. Yeah, we have a couple of kind of interesting things that are happening, announcing some of them, not announcing other ones. And we're going to finish up with kind of an ask me anything, or like, you know, Q&A basically. So this could be, you could be asking me about the software in particularly. You could be asking me about our customers, like what kind of customers use us, like what benefits have they seen. You know, a lot of the customers that we've actually signed up to date haven't used any software, so it might be interesting to hear what their experience was like. And then just like general things as well, like as I said, we want to help with more than just our software. You know, we always kind of point people in the right direction when it comes to other types of softwares, whether it's for like programming, whether it's for like marketing, like email marketing, that kind of stuff. So I'm completely open to anything to talk about with regards that kind of Q&A session at the end. Okay. So like just to kind of tell you a bit of background about us, I actually used to work as a scientist. So I was working in quality control. I did that in college. I never did any kind of business background thing before. And I suppose I found that was something that really didn't speak to me and to kind of, I suppose, my values in life. And I suppose you're quite young when you're going through school and you're trying to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life. And like, definitely for me, it just wasn't the right decision. So I left that industry and I went and did a fitness course down in Waterford, actually, because I just had such a passion growing up in the gym and stuff like that. So that's kind of like, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do at that stage. Really kind of just trying to figure it out. I knew I wanted to do something in business. I wanted to, you know, have that kind of flexible lifestyle, although I haven't seen that flexible lifestyle to date. Then I wanted to kind of do something in the fitness sphere. So I contacted one of my friends who was a developer, because again, something in the software sphere, and I was hearing a lot about startups and seeing Silicon Valley and all that kind of interesting stuff that was going on. So I was like definitely interested in kind of figuring a few things out there as well. So I pitched this idea of basically, I suppose when I was kind of working in fitness, I felt that it would be awesome if we could get more and more clients or more fitness enthusiasts connecting with providers. And, you know, for them, the benefit obviously is getting healthier, getting fitter, for the provider, then they're growing their client base and they're reaching more people essentially. So we kind of turned it like the Airbnb for fitness, and that was the idea. And this is actually a photo taken from, we were in UCC, literally drawing on a board. I don't know if you can see some of the names there. They're absolutely terrible. One of them was broccoli, if you can see that. So luckily we didn't call the product broccoli. But yeah, that was kind of the initial idea, that Airbnb for fitness, connecting consumers with providers of the industry. That's not what we're doing to date, and I'll kind of touch on that as we kind of talk through the story. So we joined the Ignite program in UCC, which is an entrepreneurial development program for the year between 2017 2018, and this was really to kind of, I suppose, get a bit of validation on what we're doing. And I'll be kind of touching on that as well, the importance of like listening to markets, validating your assumptions, and I suppose for us it was really kind of getting a background in business as well, because we never did business. This is one of our other co-founders here down here, Ian. He was actually working as a personal trainer before, and I met him in a spinning class, and I told him that we're working on this idea for the Airbnb of fitness. Would he be interested in joining and coming on board? And we started that program in September 2017. From that point, it was kind of like, okay, how do we get this product to market? We have this idea, but what Ignite, I suppose, taught us to do was like be ruthless with what we were doing and kind of really get a lot more validation, because we had these assumptions and we thought this was great, this was cool. But when we actually went out to the market and they literally were pushing us out the door to talk to more potential customers, the constant feedback was like, that's a really cool idea. And we were kind of like, would you pay for it? And they were saying, I'm not too sure, I'd have to see how it would work. And we then knew, like, from that point, like, this is going to be a tough business model, because they weren't going to pay for it. How are we going to get them on the platform? Because it's only useful for the clients if there's more and more providers on the platform. It's only useful so they can find the right one. It's only useful for the provider if they can, you know, vice versa, have loads and loads of clients coming onto the platform searching for them. So kind of classic chicken and egg scenario where we didn't have the capital behind us to be able to scale that model. So we went back out a second time and we said, and this was kind of the start of like the customer development journey, and it's something that we're super passionate about today. We asked them, okay, what are the problems in the industry? Like if we were going to build something, what would you build? And it kind of came back to the same two things. Like, there was a lot of problems in the industry and business. There's a lot of problems in businesses in general. But the big two themes were around cancellations and admin work. So with regards to cancellations, it was like, you know, people canceling last minute, and you're already in the gym waiting for them, or not showing up on time, or, you know, saying, oh, I'll get you next time, and, you know, they might forget the next time, and you're just trying to chase up that money constantly. And then you have like the admin time of, like, you know, spending your weekends on WhatsApp, going back and forth, and people saying, does 9 o'clock work for you? Does 6 o'clock work for you? And the other things as well that kind of went along with that admin work, you know, the fact that you had to kind of try and find, okay, where did that person message me? Where did they, you know, are they booked in? Am I double booked? That kind of stuff. So we basically like took that idea of like, okay, admin work and cancellations, and we tried to find out like, what does this cost the average business owner? And we went out again talking to people. We said, okay, how many cancellations do you roughly get a week? And how much time do you spend on the booking side of things, the chasing up payment side of things, the lodging payments, accounts, all that kind of stuff. And the feedback that we got was that it was 4 hours on admin every week and 3 cancellations. So we asked them then, what do you charge an hour? What's an hour worth to you in your business? And kind of, we had, like, again, people were doing private training, semi-private training, class-based training, and the kind of the general number was about €35 an hour. So we then kind of extrapolated that out and said, okay, well, €35 an hour, you're spending 4 hours in admin work, you're getting 3 cancellations. So let's say cancellation is worth €10, and you're getting 256 of those a year. That's nearly $3,000 in cancellations every single year. And some people even say that's low. They're getting more than 3. And then from an admin perspective, 4 hours, you know, if you could get those 4 hours back, maybe you could have more classes or do more sessions. Or some people were just like, I'd actually like to have that time back for my family. I was like, that's great as well. So like, that's kind of like, this is where we kind of built our unique value proposition of like, you know, if you're not using software, this product is going to save you €10,000 per year. Or at least provide you with the opportunity to kind of gain that revenue back. So that's what we started like building, and we ran these hackathons to actually build the product. So we like brought people away for a weekend, booked out an Airbnb. We had to do it really on the cheap because we were like a new company, had very, very little money. I think we had like $5,000 to invest in the whole company, and $5,000 definitely doesn't pay for 6 guys to be away from at a hackathon. But we got some other kind of supports then on the way during the journey as well. So we went into the New Frontiers program, and I think like everybody here as well should be looking at like such government support, such programs as well, and how they can help the business. And I'll kind of touch again on that later. But like right now, there's the trading online voucher scheme so that people can invest in websites as well as softwares like us. There's, you know, different business grants and stuff like that. So definitely, I kind of encourage everybody to kind of check out what's in your locality. The local enterprise office is always a really good place to start out, and they run these courses for like for other things as well to help with businesses. So yeah, just going from that point, like again, just touching on that problem, people who are doing things the old way using like WhatsApp, phone, texting, Google Sheets, all that kind of stuff, like the problem for them was basically that 4 hours and 3 cancellations per week. And that was one thing that we were super passionate about solving, because I suppose that's where we were, that's where we felt our problems were as well. And then you had like, I suppose we weren't first to market or anything like that. But what this gave us a really good opportunity was to learn from other people who are already in the market, legacy products. And what we kind of did was, instead of trying to sell to them the very first day, because some of them we weren't actually ready for, we just asked them, you know, what you like about it, what you not like about it, and again, got that feedback to kind of build out our own product and develop on that. And what we found was like legacy products that were out there were quite large, they were quite cumbersome. They were built for businesses with loads of staff, loads of members, that kind of stuff. And even the businesses that were that big didn't like the interface. And I suppose that's what, and they were using about 20% of that product. And that's what we wanted to kind of solve, was making something easier for them and not costing an arm and a leg, essentially. So that's where we kind of, I suppose, decided to kind of refine and define the product, was around focusing on that 20% that businesses actually want and actually use, and build it more like a consumer app as opposed to one of those enterprise legacy products. So I'm not going to name drop any of our competitors, but if you've used other competitors, you might find them like they're quite difficult to set up, difficult to use on a day-to-day basis. You always have to open your laptop. You can't do everything on mobile. And we wanted to kind of do the exact opposite of them, because we felt that's what the market wanted, and that was the feedback that we were getting. So it's kind of building it like kind of like a consumer technology instead of an enterprise technology. So building it kind of like WhatsApp, building it kind of like Google Calendar, that kind of stuff. So like that got us to a point where we were able to launch our ugly baby version, is what it's called. So it's like the worst looking version of the product. And we actually had our first beta customer come on board. This is Kean, he's actually from Cork. This is whilst we're still in Ignite. But it was amazing to even get something to market, because it is super, super tough to even get to that point. And I see a lot of companies that find, you know, even that part quite tough. So product launched, started with kind of this freemium model, and basically just kind of rolled that out, onboarded people bit by bit. We didn't open to like the public or anything like that, because we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was, we were doing it right, and we kept our rep quite good. So we wanted to kind of learn, iterate, and then go with a few more businesses, learn, iterate, go with a few more. And then we got support, like I think in the first year, I think we averaged maybe something like maybe 1.5 to 2 grand per month. So we were like quite still early stage. We had a big team, but luckily we had those supports behind us as well, with the government support. And we built the business up like quite well over the course of 2019, and we just did the hard graft, going around to every, like knocking on every door. I call it shaking hands, kissing babies, to kind of introduce ourselves, introduce the product, and I suppose, you know, learn a bit more about the industry. And we built the business up to a really good point in like January, February of 2020. We were doing quite well, but then lovely COVID came along, and you know, I think the majority, like, you know, 80-90% of businesses must have been affected by COVID, and we were we were no different. And it was a really, really tough time, because you're just after kind of starting your business. And even for, like, I don't want to just say from our perspective, but like every business, was a really tough time. But for us, we were just after getting over, one slaying one dragon, and here's another giant dragon presented in front of us again. But again, that's just part of it, being in business as well. So we then had to kind of choose to pivot. And by pivot, what I mean is that we had to like completely change the way we were working at that time, and essentially go all hands on deck into helping customers. So like, maybe at this stage, what would be good to kind of chat about is like what we did pre-lockdown. So we were actually talking to our friends over in Spain. Spain were a little bit ahead of us with regards like the first lockdown. I think they shut everything down about maybe 3 or 4 weeks before us. And I kind of just was constantly talking to our friends over there, saying, how are things over there? What was happening in the fitness industry? What was happening in other industries and stuff like that? And it seemed like it was inevitably going to come to Ireland. And as we all know, it definitely did. So what we basically did is we had what we call a war room meeting. I think this is taken from like Lord of the Rings. So we've a lot of enthusiasts on our development team around Lord of the Rings and that kind of stuff. So the war room is basically, we all met up in, I don't think it was virtually at the time. We all met up in the specific location. We said, okay, like, this is what's happening in Spain. It's happening in other countries. It's probably going to come here. Like, what are we going to do about this? And we were luckily so small as well that we were able to kind of pivot that quickly. And what I was doing in the meantime was like keeping my eye on the forums. So like, the Facebook groups, like the Irish fitness professional groups, seeing what other people were posting, seeing kind of what was going on Reddit, like basically looking everywhere. I have like all these like Google alerts set up as well. So again, if people are interested in kind of like learning more about their industry and specific things, check out Google Alerts, because it'll send you an email every evening just saying like, here's what's going on in fitness software, here's what's going on in strength and conditioning. And yeah, we basically said, okay, we're gonna like, let's create like a strategy session. And we've gotten this far with a lot of input from our customers, so let's definitely bring them in and get them involved. And we actually ran this like whole COVID series basically before it actually before we were in full lockdown, to kind of like figure out, okay, like what did the businesses using Legit Fit think? What were they going to do? And we invited some other people from outside, fitness business mentors, other people who aren't using us, because like for us, it wasn't important in whether you're using Legit Fit or not using Legit Fit. It was important that like, we're all in this together. And if, I might curse throughout this, sorry, if shit does hit the fan, which it most likely will, that we can kind of work through this together. So we kind of created a plan of action around that, and again, iterating and on that plan of action. What our customers did then, like, we're so lucky that the customers we had were just so interested in the industry as well, that they helped us strategize. So they were coming on calls with us. They were trying to help us figure things out as well. And we weren't saying that we know all the answers or anything like that. We actually played the opposite, and we said that like, we are listening to the industry, but we're in the same situation as you. But I think it was really good that we were that kind of vulnerable with them, because I think it just worked really, really well. So they probably then in turn, after those strategy sessions, had their own war rooms and met with their own coaches, met with their own clients to kind of figure out, what were the clients interested in doing, and like what they did from that point. And what a lot of people had to do was basically adapt and overcome essentially what they were doing. So like from our kind of strategy sessions, we kind of had this like plan of action for ourselves and for the other businesses. And basically like the 2-week plan of action, I think this is just previous to lockdown, we talked about the business model. So look, like, optimizing the business model, because you have to adapt, you have to be flexible around things. So if you're doing large class based, moving to small group personal training, or moving to one-to-one fitness, doing outdoor, like changing your location, being super flexible, because like your clients, like, people are still going to be interested in fitness. People are still interested in keeping healthy, like whatever time it is. So just adapting to that so that you can help them basically. And that's what it is. You're just helping them. so we then kind of had like, you know, where else can we help in this 2 weeks? And we ran these seminars on like completely different things. So we did like one's on email marketing, one on Facebook ads, one on like there was one business consultant that came in as well from Sarah Consultancy. So, you know, we ran these things that were completely, I suppose, outside of our like what we offered, and we brought in specialists in that area because we were like, okay, we need to kind of create more value for customers, and we need to kind of, you know, work with them and help them optimize where they can. So if we get in someone on Facebook ads and they're doing online, that's going to help them, and that's what we were just kind of looking to do, and it's what we're constantly looking to do, is just help. Our 2 months plan of action then was like, you know, we're probably going to have to go online, as in like us as a team internally, which luckily we kind of already were remote working, but also like all the businesses using us, like they were going to have to go online. So then we kind of like went to our own drawing board and we started working on it. How are we going to get things online? And I suppose the most important thing, and kind of looking back, and it was like it was quite funny and like crazy, that it was like we were very much like in this attitude of like, you know, we can do this together, and we're more than just software, we're going to help you in whatever way possible. So we went to some extreme lengths to find out like, you know, like, can this work? Like, how well will it work? We had like our team, like we have a couple of guys in sales and support, and like they were dropping everything they were doing to help businesses set up their events for virtual events, and like doing this really scrappy kind of virtual event way of running virtual events through Legit Fit until we actually built it. I personally was like looking to drop in on some of the classes with some of our customers. So like I asked, I put it, we have a Facebook group and a WhatsApp group, and I put it out there, and a couple of people said, yeah, you can come on Monday, you can come on Monday night, you can come on Tuesday. And I was like, oh God, what have I gotten myself in for here? And I went along to the classes. Kind of, I suppose what was interesting to me was like, from a consumer perspective, like how good was it going to be for them? Because if it wasn't good for them, it wasn't going to be good for the businesses, and if it wasn't good for the businesses, it wasn't going to be good for us. So like, again, taking that idea of like, you know, we need to validate this before we actually go gung-ho and like integrate with Zoom or somebody like that. So yeah, I was in basically a couple of different sessions. I had like milk cartons, I had 5-liter jugs, all that kind of stuff, like working out. And I actually found it super tough. So like, I was like, okay, this is definitely going to work, because I really enjoyed that. You know, everybody else really enjoyed it. And, you know, for us at the end as well, we kind of gave feedback to our businesses saying, you know, I found this really good. I found, you know, if you're sharing your screen, you should do that. And we started making kind of videos around that and sharing it in like, again, these different Facebook groups, just to help others who weren't using it, so that they could kind of run Zoom sessions as best as possible. So I suppose, whilst I take a drink, sorry. So like, next thing, like what happened with the industry then? I don't know if everybody remembers this, but it seemed like there was this massive panic towards Facebook Live. I think everybody in the country was running Facebook Lives at some stage, and I think like for us, it didn't make a huge amount of sense, because, you know, this isn't sustainable. And I know we were in a point there where it was like, you know, maybe it's gone in a month, maybe it's gone in 2 months, but, you know, I always think, and again, it's something one of our customers said to us, was like plan for the worst, but hope for the best. And that's what we were trying to do. Like, we were kind of playing devil's advocate and saying, okay, what if it's here 12 months? What if it's here 2 years? What should we be doing? And like, with a lot of people who went towards Facebook Live, it was going to be a really hard way to monetize it. And, you know, like, I'm not like promoting like, oh, you like sell, but like, for sustainability, for people to be in business, for people to continue helping people and give them their offerings, they have to charge things. And just with the Facebook Live, I think it was fine for like the first couple of weeks, but it kind of diluted things a small bit for everybody else, especially for the people who are like offering Zoom. And then, you know, there's people on YouTube as well already there. So it was like really tough then, for like, we kind of shot ourselves in the foot as an industry by doing that. So like, you know, thankfully we kind of were kind of we talk to the Zoom engineers, and we talk to Stripe, we talk to like our partners, we talk to like our customers, and and again, listening into the industry, Zoom kept popping up. So like that's where we decided to kind of go down that route, and we couldn't integrate with Facebook Live. It was just impossible. But we did integrate with Zoom. So we were building this basically in the background so that, you know, people could like set their calendar online, and usually they'd be setting their calendar and doing normal sessions, but that they could set their calendar and do virtual sessions as well. And, you know, this was an iterative process as well. You know, version 1 was very, it worked, which was the most important thing. But we've kind of bettered it over time, and we've learned a lot as well from our customers on what we should be doing and where we should be going. So like you can even throw up, you know, YouTube videos and stuff like that now, and people can join directly from the calendar. But I think like for us, it was like okay, Zoom seemed the most popular. It was really good streaming service, really good quality, no issues with music with like Facebook. Now there is some caveats to Zoom, but you know, we felt that was the best solution for it. Now what our customers then did, I suppose during that lockdown era, was like they had to pivot and themselves, and they had to go completely online, and we helped as much as possible with that. And this was a big learning for everybody, you know, like trying to kind of run sessions online and trying to, you know, get the camera angles right, watching other people, and it was a really tough time, and like we were trying to help as much as possible. And it was great to see even today, like some of our businesses who are on the chat groups, like helping each other with grants and helping each other with different things like that, and those kind of strategies sessions really kind of stuck with us. And I think they even motivated everybody else, because during the strategy sessions at the start, it was super doom and gloom. And I always kind of remember this one business that uses us, Keith up in Dublin. He just came on and he was like, lads, like glass half full, let's like, you know, let's go do this, you know, there's nothing we can do about it, let's go forward. And like even like his energy, and it just reverberated around with everybody else, and everybody was then starting kind of to get open to kind of running the Zoom stuff. And like they were kind of doing it a lot earlier than most, and that really helped them as well kind of maintain their customers, but also get some new people who were coming from like different areas, like larger gyms and stuff like that as well. So they had to adjust their business model as well, and I think this was kind of a learning process over the 12 months as well. So a lot of people were doing, you know, package based, maybe they were doing monthly memberships, that kind of stuff. They moved to kind of a weekly membership model as well. So if you're kind of looking at things and you feel that it's quite hard to get customers because they're looking, oh, we might be back next month, we might be back in 2 months, a weekly membership model worked quite well with them. And they had different models. So they had like, you know, they were running live interactive sessions through Zoom and Legit Fit. And then they were doing like, you know, kind of on-demand style sessions, or, you know, paid private group sessions. So like, I think, again, I might be pulling numbers here that might be exactly accurate, but I think the interactive sessions were kind of close to what they were originally charging anyway. And a lot of people kept charging exactly what they're charging already, and their customers were happy to pay for it. And then for the private groups, they were charging a bit less, like, you know, 5, 10, 15 euro on a weekly or a monthly subscription. And we had some businesses even like grow during that time, which was like immense that they could do that. So and I think they kind of constantly adjusted that business model as they went on as well. So again, you know, it's not like set it up and they will come. It's about setting it up, getting a couple of people on board, like exactly what we did at the start, testing, iterating, and just finding out what works, basically. And we actually had some people even set up new businesses, which was really like, that was probably one of the proudest things during lockdown for us, was that, you know, we had some people who were laid off from like leisure centers and larger places like that, and they, you know, they were kind of like, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go? Like, I've just lost my job. And we had a couple of people who got introduced to us, or you know, reached out to us on the chat, and they were like, okay, like this is what's happened. And I suppose for us then, it was about like not just providing software, but like providing like the business support and the whole onboarding. And it's something we even do. It doesn't matter if you're like 10 years in business or like 10 days in business. We provide that kind of support up front, because we think it's like stands to us as a company going forward, and it really helps the business. So like we had, as I said, like personal trainers who are working in a leisure center. They came out, set up on our platform. We helped them set up, integrated with Zoom, that kind of stuff, get their first clients on board, and they were able to kind of run a business and grow their business. And like my hope for them was that, like, once lockdown ended, that they, if it was in their interest, that they didn't have to go back into the leisure center, that they could set up their own business, set up their own studio. And then, like, we had our customers as well, like, kind of, I suppose, looking at what other things were out there, what other kind of tools they could use, and just being really kind of smart about and using the time, because like we did have a lot of time on our hands. So they were looking into, like, okay, what can I use for programming to better my business right now and better my business for when we're coming back? What can I look into from a marketing perspective? What tools are out there? Using things like Canva, using things like later.com for scheduling their social media and all that kind of stuff. So like really kind of building the infrastructure on their business so that when they do come back, that they're stronger than ever. And again, like other tools, and I'm going to mention a few here because I think they are great tools. They're somewhat of a competitor, but not a direct competitor, because we're kind of more in the live space. But if you're looking for like programming and stuff like that, we don't kind of go down that route really. There is ways you can do it, but we don't like fully focus on that. But like the likes of PT Distinction, the likes of PT Minder, these types of programming tools, which are bringing another dynamic towards and another offering towards their business. So again, I'd encourage everyone to kind of use this time to kind of, take a look at kind of what they're using and what can kind of help them in the future. Now, there was one caveat with this as well. Not every customer could do this. Not every customer could pivot online. And I remember having one call with one of our customers who their target market was kind of like the older kind of generation. And they, like, for them, and they had these like specific machines that they actually needed to kind of run their business. So for them, they couldn't make that pivot online. And I was even trying to motivate them, saying, would you look at a different customer base just for the time being? I can help you set it up. I can help you from a social media side. We can get the marketing right and all, just to kind of like, I suppose for us, it was, retaining our business for sure. We wanted to kind of retain as much customers as possible. But for me as well, personally, I was kind of like, I felt kind of like, oh, I just really want to help this person like keep running things. And I just kind of felt like, my family have had their own businesses and stuff like that, and they've had their own businesses fail as well. Some really succeed, some really fail as well. And I suppose that kind of part of me was just saying, like, anything I can do to help. And I was on the phone to them and I was like, is there literally anything I can do to help? And just some people couldn't make the pivot. But I suppose on the flip side of this and some larger places could make the pivot as fast as the smaller places. But I suppose, again, looking at this as glass half full, this meant that there was more clients out there for more people to kind of do the online stuff as well. So I think that was kind of an important thing to kind of that we learned ourselves, was like, always kind of look at the glass half full, and like, I suppose, like, give off that energy as well. So post lockdown, the gyms are back. I remember everywhere again on like Facebook, like Facebook and Instagram, like just like being destroyed with like, we're back. But I love seeing it because, it was great news for all of our businesses. It was great news for us. But again, going back to that like slight bit of skepticism as well. And what one of our businesses was saying was, plan for the worst, but hope for the best. Like, we had our own inflection point here. This is like, we were building the business up. I think this was kind of like January, February stage. And then we were like, okay, we're losing some businesses here. We're pausing some memberships for people as well that, literally couldn't pivot. And then we had this massive inflection point, and it was like everybody was looking for software at that point. And it was super helpful for the businesses, and I felt people became a lot more open to it. And it's those people now who kind of see the value of like what it does offer. It's not just a simple booking system, And I suppose for us, like, we were still kind of talking to our customers and saying, okay, like, do you think we are back? Do you think there's going to be another lockdown? And we just took that approach of like, like just planning as much as possible around like what things are going to look like in 1 month, in 2 months, in 12 months. And I think like with lockdown 2 and 3 at this stage now, there was I think the most important learnings that came out of lockdown 1, 4, and were more emphasized by lockdown 2 and 3 was like, firstly, the importance of like adapting fast or preempting things. So like you had a lot of businesses who were doing the Facebook lives and like weren't kind of really monetizing it, and it was a different offering to clients as well. Like the interactive virtual sessions is a lot different to, you know, throwing up a Facebook live, because, you know, you and I've heard this story of like people like on Facebook live just sitting down on their couch watching it, feeling like they've done a workout. I'm guilty of it. I've done it once, but I suppose, yeah, like adapting to kind of like suit the needs of what the market is looking for. And for us, like people who are doing like semi-private and personal training and classes, even, like they wanted that accountability. They wanted someone looking on the other side, seeing either their face or even just their name on the screen as well, so that they know they're being watched. And it was kind of like a psychological thing as well. So like adapting fast to the changing market conditions, and like because of technology in the last 10 years, the markets are changing super fast. So like, you know, keep like get your Google alerts, add yourself into those Facebook groups as well, and keep an ear to the ground on what's going on, and make sure that you're kind of strategizing and preempting things more than anything else, and playing that kind of that devil's advocate. You know, like right now I think people should be thinking, you know, and I hate to say it, and it's probably going to be a big downer on the session, but what if there's a lockdown 4? You know, what if the vaccine doesn't work? And that's why I think like, you know, being hybrid, and by hybrid I mean having 2 types of offering, having the online and offline if you're doing offline, or maybe just fully going online, being that flexible is super important. And I think like the lockdown 2 and 3 as well, like what we kind of found with our customers was like, what was super important was like that glass half full attitude. Because if you're in lockdown 2 and you're kind of like, oh God, this is terrible, your energy passes on to them, and they won't be as interested in joining these interactive sessions or joining the virtual sessions if you're kind of doing that. And it was the same for us. Like if we were doing it with our customers, we were like, oh God's sake, it would rub off on them. So that was kind of super important to kind of like, you know, have more and more people coming back for the next virtual sessions, that you're actually excited to kind of do the Zoom things. And like, I know some businesses had like some really interesting things where they did, like, because they had the Zoom model, they brought in some new things like 10 minutes coffee after each session, so that you know, after each class, not after each session, because if you're doing 10 coffees a day, you won't be sleeping. But you know, bringing in kind of things that you couldn't bring in before, that were like, you know, exciting for your clients, like doing you know, Friday night quizzes and stuff like that. I can't remember the name of the quiz thing, kudos, but they were kind of using different tools like that, and bringing a new dynamic, and like really kind of cultivating the community within their business as well, which is going to be super important, like super important for lockdown, and then super important when things are coming back as well. And then I think, like, again, another learning was like just like being super resilient. And I can't stress, I think like out of everything that we'd be talking about today, resilience is really the key to kind of running business, or to kind of being successful. It's breaking through 10 walls and trying to get to break through the 11th wall. So like that definitely has been a learning, not just during lockdown, but like during kind of starting up our business as well. Another thing I think that is important to kind of state about the second and third lockdown was on retention as well. So I kind of compared it to like, you know, if you have a client booking in but doesn't have a payment on the line, they're less likely to actually show up, because it just, you know, they're sitting on the couch. I hate saying they're sitting on the couch. They might be doing something completely different, but they're kind of less likely, because there's nothing on the line basically, with them just kind of sending a text. And like, it was the same with regards like COVID and the interactive sessions. It was almost even easier, because again, you're sitting at home, you're maybe just back from work, or you're working all day, and it was quite easy for it to kind of like, you know, just lose sight and just go, no, I'm not going to go today. So like, what we had a lot of our businesses, and what we really were pushing for the last like 6 months was you know, the membership model, so that like recurring payments and like offering it at a better rate, so it works out for clients as well. But for you, it works out because you have now, you know what's coming in, you have sustainable income, you can plan things a bit better. And for the client, then it's kind of like, you know, they're ready for next week, they're booking in for next week, they're straight on it, and they're like turning up because they know they paid for their week ahead. So I think that was like super important for lockdown 2 and 3, was to kind of bring in that model if businesses didn't have it already. Okay, so just I'm going to check in on the chat here first to see if there's anything coming in, and again, keep firing in some questions. Okay, so we have just kind of seeing who's there. So we've a couple of trainers, fitness manager, group training, fitness, excellent, qualify, currently studying strength and conditioning. Brilliant. So we also have a startup program with Legit Fit. Client being personal training, huge interest in powerlifting and rugby, nice. PhD, student in mental health, personal training, nice. And Facebook Lives. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Michael, it was like just, you know, I think everybody saw everyone doing Facebook Live and then felt like, okay, let's do that as well. Because if everyone's doing it, I must do it as well. But of course, we kind of learned after like a couple of weeks, those Facebook Lives started getting less and less, and more people were moving towards the Zoom stuff. Okay, so just with regards like monetizing, so I see a lot more people have joined since we started, which is great. So again, keep the messages coming through on the chat on kind of any questions that you have about, like, again, what went on for us in the last 12 months, what went on for our customers. So yeah, if you haven't kind of moved and monetized online yet, or you're kind of still doing like Facebook Lives, or maybe you're doing Zoom and you're not quite charging for it yet, or you don't know, can you charge for it, or you know, maybe you're just brand new into the industry and you're just interested in this as an offering, or maybe you've been in the industry a long time, you're interested now in adding this, because I think this is really interesting. Is like one of the biggest limiters to any business is like the space that they're in, any physical business, and like what virtual fitness allows you to do is expand. So like we have some businesses now who their model is like that hybrid model of virtual and in person, and like when they went back during the last lockdown, because some people weren't comfortable coming back just yet, which will happen again, they were teaching the class to like a couple of people, and then they had a camera in the background where it was focused on them teaching the class as well, which was really cool, because you're now like you're reaching outside of your limitations with regards to the size of your space. And what's even better is you're reaching new markets. So we had like some customers who had clients in America streaming in, some clients in the Netherlands streaming in, and like you could go from Cork to Dublin, and you could like, it was a whole new market opportunity for businesses. You know, you didn't just have to go onto Facebook ads and just target Cabra or target Tume or target wherever. You could literally target the whole of the country and really kind of get like the niche that you want to work with as well. So anyway, sorry, how to monetize your online sessions. Okay, I think there was like 5 steps. I was thinking about this last night, and kind of what we were kind of talking about with people. So like, first of all, choosing your model is super important. So like what is the business? Is it going to be one-to-one? Is it going to be one-to-many? Is it going to be online, offline, all that kind of stuff? And what I always think about when you're choosing your business model, what is super important is like, think about 3 things, because there's this Venn diagram of a trifecta of things for the perfect business. And the first thing to think about is like, number 1, what does the market need? Okay, so like in your area, maybe in Ireland, like what are people looking for? So again, when it came to first lockdown, people were maybe looking for any type of fitness, any type of interactive virtual sessions. So that's the first question to ask, like what's wanted by the market. The second question to ask is, what am I good at? Because there's no point, if you're not good at something, there's no point in you offering it, because you know the people, like the market will know that. So like, find out like what the market want, what you're good at, and then finally, and probably one of the most important ones, is like, what are you passionate about? Because like, you can have the market and you can be good at something, but if you're not passionate about it, it really doesn't mean anything, because like you're not going to kind of deliver good sessions. You're not going to be energized by it. It's not going to get you up in the morning at like 6 a.m. or whatever time. So really kind of when you're choosing your model, think, does that model tick these 3 boxes? You know, maybe I'm better actually at doing classes than I am at semi-private. Maybe I'm better at doing the one-to-one stuff. And then figuring out, okay, is there a need for this one-to-one stuff? And do I really like this? So I think that's number 1. Number 2 is like understand what it's actually going to take to run it. So, you know, do it like, it doesn't have to be a business. I hate business plans where you're kind of like doing this executive summary and 18 more pages, but just like a napkin business plan. Get out a napkin and write it down. Like, okay, my time equals 40 hours a week. This is going to cost me this many hours. This is going to cost me that many hours. Like what's it going to cost me financially? There's no point in setting up something if you're going to put a lot of money into it and not see that money back within a couple of weeks to a couple of months. And then you know, like what's it going to take for me to kind of to do that? So again, with online, what kind of software am I going to use? Am I going to use Facebook Live? Am I going to use Facebook groups? Am I going to use Zoom, Google Hangouts? There's loads of different types of options out there. And again, if I can talk about those ones as well, like the different options that are out there if people aren't comfortable using Zoom as well. And then like the third thing is like choose your delivery platform. So it could be in person. Right now, obviously, it's not in person. In the next few weeks to months, it's going to be, you know, outdoor. Again, does that tick your MGP? Then you know, maybe it's online. So look, do a bit of research into like, you know, Zoom. Do a bit of research into Hangouts. Into Whereby is another one that's quite decent. And like luckily we've an integration with all of them now, which is pretty cool. And then optimize things to scale it. That's the kind of the next step. So like, you know what your model is going to be. You know what the costs and what that's going to take. You know how you're going to deliver it. And now, like even before like any clients, I would still suggest that you get some beta clients to test it out to see if it is something that you enjoyed and they enjoyed. But then it's about optimizing things before you go out to the rest of the market. And optimizing it to scale. So like, how am I going to optimize things from a bookings perspective? Like, I don't want to be on WhatsApp all day. I don't want to be, you know, going back and forth with email. There's a lot of people are still using email to like send out the video links and stuff like that. And like our platform doesn't do any links or anything like that, so it's a lot easier. Payments wise, like how am I going to take payments? I hear a lot of people doing Revolut with a mixture of bank transfers, with a mixture of everything else, which is tough to kind of manage. And again, you're probably like, if you're doing that kind of stuff, you have to kind of manually track things a bit more, and that just won't scale when you get to, you know, it starts getting hard even when you're at 15 clients. You're spending a lot of time on that when you could be throwing on an extra session for, you know, building from 15 to 20 clients or 20 clients to 30 clients. And then I think, you know, besides monetizing online sessions, bring in some additional offerings. So, you know, if you're going down the route of programming, like bring in some offerings there where you have, you know, even use free tools, Google Sheets, Google Docs, that kind of stuff, selling programs that way. If you're looking at another thing, and I have to give them a shout out as well, because they're another Irish startup, is Shape My Plan. They have a really kind of cool platform that goes on like meal prep. So like if you're doing like if it fits your macros type dieting, which I kind of believe in more than anything else, they have this solution where you can offer it to your clients, and they can kind of sign up. They get meal plans every day, and they can switch meals out and bring meals in, and it's really cool platform actually. And basically it allows you then as the business owner to kind of like monitor them, and also, you know, make a bit of revenue off that as well. So it's an additional offering for you, because that's their model. It's like a revenue split model. And it's not too expensive for the clients as well. So that's like, it's really handy. And like, yeah, just like, again, what other kind of offerings can you do? Like I saw people getting super creative. They were even again, and this is why it was so important for us to kind of talk to our customers in the initial stages, because some of them were like, we're renting out our equipment. Before anybody else was renting out equipment, I was like, well, that's brilliant. And they were doing, you get a spin bike for the month, 40 euro a month or 50 euro a month, and there was a rowing machine for a month, and they had all this running through our platform, which was it was really, really kind of innovative of them to kind of, they were like really adapting quite well to things. So is there any questions on like the monetizing of, thanks for throwing that in, Michael, brilliant. Any questions for people on kind of monetizing sessions? Are people running stuff online? Like, you might just say yes or no if you are running stuff online, or if you're clients, are you joining in on online sessions, and what are the parts that you like about them? What are the parts that you hate about them? Okay, you might tell me if there is, or chime in if there is any other questions. Oh, cool, great, brilliant, Sharon, thanks. So what type of payment methods can you recommend? So yeah, like there's a lot of different types of payment solutions online. It depends on kind of like, I suppose, what you need or how you're running your business. So like, let's say if I'm doing a once-off payment, PayPal is quite good. Now, their transaction charges are higher than others, but you can kind of just send a link on PayPal, and it's quite easy for them to kind of use. Stripe is another company that, like, they're our partner and who we work with, and we do a direct integration with them, and they're fantastic, and they've actually lower transactions than PayPal as well. Now, from a kind of business owner's perspective, I'm not too sure how hard it is to set up Stripe. I think PayPal is probably easier to set up, but I suppose the great news with our platform then is like, it's automatically set up in the background for you. So when you sign up to LegitFit, it automatically has the Stripe account connected in the background. So it makes things a lot easier in that regard. Other payment links, I know Revolut started doing it, but the difficult thing about Revolut is, like, if people don't have it, it's a lot harder to take money off them. And then like bank transfers, they're the cheapest method for sure, but they're the worst method for your client's experience and for you to even keep track of as well. So like, yeah, I think like if you're doing a simple payment of like just a once-off transaction, PayPal is great. But the great thing about Stripe and what we've built into our platform is that recurring model, so that it's just easier for you. It's easier for your clients as well. And we have a launch actually coming next, I think it's hopefully today, if not next week, on like Apple Pay and Google Pay. So the clients using LegitFit now will be able to actually just click a button if they have Apple Pay or Google Pay, and it'll pay through that, which is really, really cool. Sorry, great questions coming in. Great. Keep them coming. Running online classes for 2 groups, 2 sessions a week, but finding it hard to get more groups to expand the classes. Finding it hard to get more groups. 2 sessions per week. So finding it hard to kind of, is the question here, Aaron, if you don't mind me asking, is it like getting more clients in the door, or what kind of stuff, what's the biggest challenge to expanding right now? Is it maybe a time aspect from you, or you might just expand on that a bit more? So something like we added to the platform. So just another question here, are recorded Zoom sessions something that could be added to the platform as a way of monetizing your past workouts and creating a library of workout recordings for members? Yeah, so like, we actually, the way we kind of built it is that, like, if you have recordings, that you can change the calendar links. So like, what we've suggested to businesses is like setting up, and you can change it so it's not Zoom. So like, if you upload things onto YouTube, you can actually share them through your calendar on LegitFit. So like, you could have, like, during like the whole day, you could have on-demand sessions running through YouTube, so that people can literally just book in on LegitFit, click a button that's a YouTube link, and then that loads that playlist from them. And definitely reach out to the guys on support if you want to kind of get them to run through it with you, and they'll be more than happy to set it up. We are looking into like the library aspect, because I think we were thinking about this like VIP members area kind of idea, where within the platform there will be a subscription area that would be specifically for VOD. So we're kind of like, and make sure you're at the the roadmap session at the end of the month, because that's where we're going to be kind of asking these types of session or questions and stuff like that. So we've a big roadmap session with our customers at the end of the month, and we do this every quarter to kind of get their feedback. And yeah, it'll be definitely interesting, because I know one of the guys is yeah, library would be fantastic, and like tags and different things like that as well, so people could click like, you know, a specific like TRX, and it loads TRX, although I don't know how many people would be doing TRX at home. So yeah, trying to get clients in group and one-to-one sessions alone, but at the moment I'm working on full-time. Yeah, so like I think like from a promoting perspective, like use your initial network at the start. If you're in the space of like, you know, 10 clients or whatever it might be, like even if it's like your family or anybody like that, you know, get them to bring someone and offer them a free one session. Or you know, if you're doing like buddy training, like offer them like a coupon, or you know, if you bring someone along, you get to do a free session, and we'll add another session to your account as well. So that, like, again, you like, it's not easy to do, but it just, the numbers work, where you have 5 people, you just say, do you want to bring someone for free this week and I'll give you an extra session, and they bring another 5 friends, and now you're up to 10. And your goal then is, when they come in, that you're trying to give them the best session possible, which I'm sure you usually do, but give them the best session possible, and then make sure that you're following up well, and that like you're catering towards their needs, and you're kind of again, I think like listening to them will be the most important thing, to kind of make sure you're solving their problem, whether it's, you know, I'm just looking to blow off some steam, I'm looking to do whatever, and like build your business like that. And I think that like that subscription model really works well then, because you're spending less time on the payments and the booking side of things, and you're spending more time actually focusing on your clients and what they actually want. And that's the best way to grow any business. And it's how we've grown our business, is just being like super focused on clients. So just another couple of questions in here. So hopefully that helps, Aaron. Feel free to email me. I'm happy to kind of chat to anyone about anything outside of software as well, and any kind of good tools. But I really think, like, to get to the first stage, you don't need any kind of like specific tools. It's good to set up the infrastructure, but to get the first clients, it's just about like using like old school marketing, referrals and stuff like that. And referrals are super effective. To online, what is the easiest group classes? Okay, so what's easier, for group classes, or monthly subscription, or buying class passes, or what's the best way? I think you offer all 3. Offer pay as you go, offer passes, so like a 10 class pass or a 5 class pass, and then offer subscriptions as well. And the way business models, and we talk about this during onboarding, should be, like, we feel it should be structured, is that pay as you go is the most expensive, because, you know, it's not a great model for the business to kind of be able to kind of create sustainable revenue. Packages then, because you're getting good cash flow, should be a little bit less expensive. And then finally, memberships, because it's cutting down a huge amount of time for you, and because it's better retention for you as well, they should be the most affordable options. And the clients win then for committing to you in that way, and you win because you have the sustainable model. And like the great thing that we brought into as well at GFIT is, like, we have this kind of thing where it shows you your monthly recurring revenue, so you know, like, next month this is what you're going to be making, or month on month you're going to be making, which is super great, especially if you're on your own in business or an independent in business. So I think, like, offer all 3, because clients will like different ones and they'll prefer different ones, but make sure that the model is tailored towards, you know, what is going to be most sustainable for your business. Done a soft launch with our mailing lists, private groups, online members. Great way of piloting software before restrictions lift and gym opens. Cool. Yes, email is there. Thank you for putting that in as well. Really appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions about the software, you can ask me, or you can ask the guys on the live support. So just like what's next, so we sent a survey industry wise. I'll probably be running out of time here, so I'm going to try and speed up the last bit. Sorry for that, Michael. So, like, we sent out a survey, 87% of people are optimistic, which is great sign. 58% think virtual fitness is here to stay. I think, especially over the next 18 months, it's an offering that we should be like having for clients who might be comfortable coming back yet, or, you know, if there's restrictions around meters, that we can expand our business and make sure it's sustainable. What we feel is next for the industry is the CaaS model, so coaching as a service. So we're SaaS, which is software as a service, but coaching as a service means that you're doing a predictable recurring revenue model and running things on subscriptions, whether it's weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. Again, when we're talking to clients over in the UK and the US, we're asking them what's going on over there. And I think it's the best business model ever. There's like much higher retention. You can plan things a lot better, and you don't have these like peaks and troughs in revenue. And I think it works for the clients as well, because you know, they can get a more affordable rate. They don't have to put in their card details or send you money every time. They're getting their sessions like on demand as well, which is pretty cool. So I think like that, like really, I'm a big advocate of subscriptions. So for your business, hybrid offering, for sure, be looking into that. With regards to the physical, like make sure you're kind of getting pre-bookings, as opposed to like, you know, people kind of turning up and stuff like that. And make sure you're optimizing things with a waiting list and stuff like that as well. I think that's going to be like, that's one of the biggest heartbreaks of the last opening up, was that people were booking and not showing up, and it could have been used for somebody else. So it's not about like, you know, covering your, it is about covering your costs, but it's also about the other clients who could have came, because there is restrictions and we can't get as much people as we used to into each session. Contactless payments, it's going to be, I think, like, obviously we're all getting used to that, and it's going to become more and more a cashless society. So try to optimize for that. And again, it's something that we can help with. Look into the supports as well that are around right now. There is a lot of government support. So I mentioned a few there. Local enterprise office. Look into the trading online voucher specifically, and there's a couple of other different types of supports that are out there. I can throw this as well in the chat. I actually think I have it here. So we, sorry, now, just hide. So we sent this out last time around when things were sorry now. So we sent this out last time around, and I think it was quite good, and it kind of talks as well about the business model. So do look into that. So it talks about like what you should be doing to kind of prepare post-COVID, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it would definitely be worth kind of having a look through that, because we talk about more than just like COVID stuff. It's about business model stuff as well. So check that out. Then just kind of to highlight the overall big learnings for us. With business and with COVID, businesses are about problem solving. So get super comfortable with that. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And like, you know, whether it's like, I think COVID is probably one of the biggest problems any of us will ever go through, but just get super comfortable with dealing with problems, or maybe challenges is a better way to term them. Listen to the market, listen to your customers as much as possible. Don't react to things. A lot of people react to kind of, you know, that Facebook Live was a reaction, was a response from businesses, where they should have like put I suppose a bit more you know, thought into the long-term plan. And again, planning for the worst, hope for the best. Do that today, do that when COVID's gone, do that then as well, because it just gives you that kind of different mindset of thinking about things. And then make sure just to ask for help. Like we asked for help with the government supports, we asked for help from our customers. We were like, and be super vulnerable, because people want to help each other. And even with us, like ask us for help. If it's nothing to do with software, ask us. We're happy to kind of put some time into things. And just one of the I suppose one of the comments in the feedback forums was that I thought was quite good, is there is always a market for a quality service. So just like keep focusing on the quality of the service, and you know, the rest will fall in line. So what's next for us? We're now gone international, so we're in 7 different countries in a couple of different time zones, which is really cool to say, even during COVID, that we were able to kind of expand on that. We've closed our own seed round, so we've brought in some investment, and we actually have 10% of our customers investing in us, which is amazing to be able to say as well, and a couple others that I can't just mention yet. So we're putting that now into like customer success and support and product, because again, we want our product to scale by our customers loving the product, and we truly genuinely believe in that. So like again, our focus is going back to that, the old way and the new way, but now obviously we have the Zoom conundrum, and ensuring that we're, I suppose, allowing businesses to become, you know, the best that they can be. And when we're kind of doing that, we've this lovely cheesy acronym about bettering retention rates, enhancing the service offering, slashing down on cancellations, and trimming down the admin work. And like, you know, like without a shadow of a doubt, our main focus is obviously to build a business, but to do that, our main focus is always on our customers and making sure that more of this type of stuff you know, happens, that people are talking about us, because we love seeing this. It makes the whole team motivated. It makes our competitors super pissed off as well, which is great. And it just shows and validates what we're doing and that we're doing something right. And I love that kind of community aspect in it. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions. If you guys are interested in chatting to us, you can go to legitfit.com. You can sign up. There's a freemium version, but there's also we're going to do a discount for the first 5 businesses that are coming through through this event, basically. And as I said, there's like other startup programs and stuff like that. So do contact us if you're a startup. But it's basically going to be 50% off for 3 months. So Michael has dropped the link inside there. I can also share my demo link as well if you want to book in some time as well. But that is pretty much it.